So I haven't uploaded a video in a while, so it says a lot when I am recording a video. So today, I don't usually talk about games because I don't play many games. I recently don't play that much games in the because of time constraints and such. But recently, there's a game that got released, the gacha game, and the game is Nekopara Sekai Connect. And usually I wouldn't talk about gacha games that I play because I don't really care too much about them. They are just like stuff I touch and go on and don't really have much opinion on. But Nekopara Sekai Connect is kind of a dumpster fire. There's a lot of issues with it, and so I would like to talk about it. So first and foremost, this game itself is developed by Good Smile Company, NekoWorks. It's created by them themselves. I'm pretty sure they got some help from other companies to help create it, but I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, it's a gacha game. Usually they only make the main Nekopara games, but this time they actually made the gacha game themselves. I don't know how much of it they did. I assume at the very least the visual novel, the story writing, the sprites and stuff are done by them. But the game itself, I have no idea. And the promotional cooperation is by Yosta. I like Yosta, you know. Yosta games usually are pretty good. Stuff like Azur Lane, HPR, Mahjong. So Yosta as a publisher does some good stuff. So when Yosta's name is put on this game, I'm like, alright, this game is probably okay. But then, so I think if you are quite into the anime community, you've seen these game ads pop up once in a while, and it will lead you to a site called G123. So if you've ever played any of the games from G123, you'll know that they use quite, I would say, relatively popular IPs. They make quick games out of them, and they milk the absolute shit out of the people playing it. So these games are extremely pay to win, and it shows. And Nekopara Sekai Connect is very similar to all of it. So I would just like to prelude and just say that this is like the first half week that the game has come out. There's a lot that can change with the game, but as of right now, it has a lot of issues. So first, I don't like the way that they've done the game. I don't think that they needed to make this game as it is. Especially for people who have played this sort of game itself, it just feels like you are being scammed into paying a lot of money to play this game. Which you aren't really, I would say, compared to stuff on G123, it's not as egregious, but you can still feel that they are pushing a relatively high amount of monetization for the game because of the fact that they have VIP levels in the game, and any game with VIP levels is probably trying to scam you. So yeah. There's also rankings in the game, which is very common tactic used for these sort of games because they want to get you to spend money so that you can have your face up there on the leaderboard. Very common stuff. I would say it's not as bad as some of the other games because of the fact they don't just spam the side of your screen with like packs all the time. They do like push out a lot of packs, but they aren't extremely prominently shown at the side, so you can sort of forget it. But honestly, it's very hard to say how pay to win the game is because I think because I've been playing it for like the past 2 days, once you've gotten past the start of the game, it's kind of okay. So you don't really need to pay to win, but I haven't seen any of the events, and if my experience with any of these very pay to win games is going to apply here, well, the events are going to have a bunch of limited stuff and you're gonna get power crap like shit, and yeah. So the first event for the game is coming out tomorrow, so I'll see how it goes. But honestly, I'm kind of disappointed that the game ended up this way. Honestly, I think it's fine. It's just I feel like when you have a game which is as popular and has as much visual appeal as Nekopara, making a game like this is sort of a wasted opportunity, is what I'll say. But besides the gameplay itself, I would say, like, honestly, yeah, what they did with the game is they can do whatever with their IP. It's a decent IP, it's popular, it's visually appealing. You can get people to play the game even if the game itself isn't that good. I won't complain too much about the game as a whole, as a development. It's still an okay game, I will say. It's not the best. It's not something I would have expected, but I would have liked more, is what I'll say. Honestly, the direction of the game is weird as well. For example, they have a rhythm game aspect of the game, but it's extremely messed up. I'll go into more detail about all the issues with the game. I currently have the game at the site because the game is literally my script. There's so much to talk about. But yeah, the game sort of doesn't have a very clear direction of where it's going. It's a bit weird, I'll say. And yeah, I just expected more because I'll say the visuals of the game are great. I don't know if they're using the same motion engine as they did in the visual novels. I'm sorry I haven't kept up because I haven't had time, and visual novels are a bit hard for me to catch up with. So I haven't seen, especially Nekopara Volume 4, so I don't know if they're using a new sprite engine or anything. But character models are great, the sprites are great, the motion is great, it's a very pretty game. But yeah, I'm just slightly disappointed that this is what the game is. But I'm even more disappointed in how useless the game developers of the game are. Because this game is so buggy that I think like a bunch of the Google reviews are talking about how the game can't even launch. I know someone else tried playing the game, they got soft locked at the tutorial. And so there are a bunch of issues. There's literally a page, usually in the pages for games there'll be the bugs and whatever. There's literally a page of all the bugs that are currently out in the game. There's quite a lot. But I'll talk into detail about it myself, about all the bugs that are in the game. But holy crap, I don't know if they even quality tested this game or checked for any bugs. But there's more bugs in this game than actual gameplay, and honestly, it's quite funny to talk about all the bugs. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the bugs now. So first and foremost, the gacha is buggy. In the tutorial, if you even doesn't even have to be the tutorial, if you are drawing gacha and you spam the skip button enough, you're able to break the gacha. So it's like the most brute force way to test whether something is working or not, and it was clearly not working properly. Also, I think if you press the skip button too much, you can mess up the sprite of the gacha animations as well. So yeah, that's the gacha broken. For the stories, there are certain character stories, certain Neko stories that don't work. Like, you can click on them, they will try loading, and they won't load. So yes, that's a problem. This game also, it's a portrait landscape game, so when you go to story, it will auto switch to vertical, not vertical, it will auto switch to landscape. Sometimes it will bug out and then it will break flipping. I think the only game that I've played on mobile that did not break with the horizontal and vertical flipping is Uma Musume. When I used to play ID Pride, they also had a section where you had to flip your phone. That used to break as well, but yeah, I would say Nekopara's is quite okay, but it breaks sometimes. But yeah, there are some stories which you straight up just can't read because I don't know why, but it just won't load properly. There's the bond section. I think This is one of the few things that doesn't have any problems. I think the Neko page as well. I haven't found any problems myself. There might be some problems listed, but I'm just talking about my own bugs that I found, so I'm not going to refer to the page of bugs. But there is a page of bugs, and yeah. So these two pages are fine. There's the Soleil page, which is kind of like your house building, like your Arknight base. Similar thing, you can do stuff here. This page permanently has like a notification appearing. I don't know why, but yeah, it's permanently appearing. There is a thing where you can do deliveries. When you send a cat girl out on a delivery and you press the send button, while the animation is playing, you can click on more cats and they'll be added to the they'll be added onto the, what do you call that? Like the list required for like the cat selected. And then if you try collecting it later, it'll break. So that's the thing that happens. Let's see the menu itself. So yes, friends. Friend list works, but there's quests where you're supposed to greet your friends, you'll get friend coins or whatever. That is not being counted. There are a couple of achievements which require it done, but somehow it doesn't count, so it's broken. Account link is broken. I'm not sure if it's broken for Apple users, but for Google Link, it does not load. Next. This is the inventory. Inventory is a bit weird. They don't really explain much. Same with Soleil, so like there's some stuff they didn't explain, so it's hard to understand. The trade shop, I don't use it that much. I don't think I've seen any problems with it. There's the settings. What else is there? Yada yada. Nothing really there. The shop, I haven't spent any real money. I'm not going to spend any real money on this game, but just saying that it's not a cheap game. They are pushing out pretty expensive packs. And also about the VIP levels. Let me just quickly go through how much it costs for VIP levels. So for VIP 1, I think it's about like $2 would be enough to get you to VIP 1. VIP 2 costs 15 times more that, so maybe like $30. For VIP 3, it's about 3.5 times more, so it's about 100. Okay, this is in Sing dollars because I'm Singaporean, so I'm calculating according to the prices I get in shop. In USD, it's probably like it's like 2/3 of the cost, somewhere around there. But for VIP 3, it's 3 times of that, so it's about 150 plus. I think somewhere around 150, $160 range. And the thing is that, so for games like this, I've played some games like this before, like I said, on G123. Usually for stages, because there's a bunch of stages which you have to get through, and playing them yourself is a chore. So that after a while, they usually let you unlock auto progress function. So after you clear a stage, you'll automatically start the next, and then you'll just keep going until you fail. So the thing is that for this game, you specifically need VIP 3 in order to unlock it. So some of the other games, they'll ask you to clear to like stage 200 something or whatever, and then they'll auto unlock for you. But no, in this game, you have to pay to unlock the auto clear feature, and yeah. Also, buying VIP gives you additional stats, so yeah, very pay to win. I can see the amount of buffs it gives is quite high. I haven't looked through the buffs because I'm not going to give a shit about them because I'm not gonna pay for this. But yes. Okay, VIP 4 is twice of that, so like 300 plus. VIP 5 is 3 times of that, so it's about 1.5k now. It's in the 4 digits. VIP 6 is 5k, so I think like 2.5k-ish. VIP 7 is another 2k, so I think it's like 3.5k-ish. VIP 8 goes to 100k, so it's about 5k now. VIP 9 is about 7.5k. VIP 10 is, it go up by 2 times there. So VIP 10 goes up to I think like 10k. So now it's around 5 digits. Then it'll increase even more. And to get to the highest VIP, which by the way unlocks a rank for having the highest VIP, VIP 15. Gives you additional stats, gives you a shit ton of bonuses. Like absolute shit ton. Like there's so many bonuses. Like what the hell? There's like 50 bonuses you get for being a VIP 15. And this will probably cost like, I don't know, like 100k I think. Like actually I think it'll cost somewhere along the ballpark of 100k to reach. Which is crazy, which is why I say any game which has a VIP level is clearly trying to scam you out of your money. And so yeah. Next, the gift box. I don't think the gift box is broken. That's a good thing. Achievements, like I said, there are a couple of achievements that are broken. So there's a stage which you are supposed to clear, is like the gift stage. Some of the achievements are not counting it properly, but some are, so I don't get what the hell they messed up with the code for it to break like that, but yeah. Next one is the greeting friends, like I said, the friend menu. You can greet friends, it's not counting any of the achievements at all. And then there are certain achievements where they give you items, but the amount of items they give is 0, so I don't know if they actually gave any items or you're not supposed to get any items from it, but it's messed up. But yeah, there are quite a few achievements which are literally bricked because it just doesn't calculate properly. So yeah, it's kind of scuffed. There's the circle, crew, whatever, like your group. There's a weekly reward. If you try and claim it, it will break. So you straight up can't claim it. They said they're going to fix this and they will just automatically give out the rewards after the maintenance tomorrow. I don't know how many bugs they're gonna fix, but we'll see. Chat, I haven't spent too much time on chat. I don't think chat is that broken. I think it's okay. And then quest. So at the very least, right, you would expect a game with like a proper game system to function properly. No, the base game itself is broken. So sometimes, so the way it works is that it's like sort of like an auto simulation thing. So your autoplay itself. The thing is sometimes the AI of the thing just breaks and some weird things happen in the game where like your customers are not moving to tables correctly, or you like the game thinks you only have one table. So yeah, they can't even get their game code right. So this is broken. Hard difficulty is somehow easier than normal difficulty, which is very weird. I don't really understand what their plan was going along with this, but I mean, if it works, it works. Yeah, that's for the game. The gift quests, like I said, is whatever. These are all fine. The rhythm game. So they added a rhythm game into this game. It's not that weird to have a rhythm game in games. There are quite a few games which do in fact have rhythm games built into their games. For example, HBR is a good example. HBR is mainly a story-based game, and the gig mode, which is the rhythm game mode, is sort of like an extra that you don't need to play but you get rewarded for playing it. Or something like Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. The rhythm game is somewhat a vital aspect of the game, but it's not also the main part of the game. It's sort of like a hybrid game where you are training and then you also have a rhythm game that just so happens to be there. But it's also quite mainly a rhythm game, so the rhythm game aspect is quite fleshed out. But at least for HBR, even though the rhythm game is not a major aspect of the game, it has all the aspects that a rhythm game needs. It might not be the best run rhythm game, but it's workable. But for Nekopara, I don't get why they added the rhythm game, but it's like the worst made rhythm game ever. So in terms of the options that you can change for this, you are allowed 3 options. A grand total of 3. These are the only things I think you can change. So you can change the node speed, the lane transparency, and turn on and off lane effects. If you have ever played rhythm games, you understand that there are a lot of aspects of a rhythm game missing here. Stuff like node, like the node, what the hell is that? Latency optimization, personalized sound settings. I mean, it's a basic rhythm game. That's not really like fancy effects or anything. So these will be fine, but also at the very least, just add like a latency thing. But you know the most egregious thing about this rhythm game is that they don't have proper hit sounds for their notes. If you ever actually played it, there bass notes, there are flick notes, there are hold notes. If you played rhythm games, yeah, you can't understand. There are only hit sounds for flick notes and hold notes, and the basic notes have no hit sound. And I don't know if it just disappeared or they just decided not to add it, because it makes no sense that you would have your hold notes have hit sounds, your flick notes have hit sounds, but your bass notes don't have hit sounds. And even the hold notes only have hit sounds on the first hold of it, and on release there's no hit sound. So I understand that they wanted to add some music to this game, add a rhythm game, so that maybe there's a bit more to do in the game, but there's a lot of rhythm games out there, by the way, but yeah, they took no inspiration from any rhythm game, didn't add any setting that makes a rhythm game, and they decided to put it in. And yeah, it's very scuffed. At the very least, right, you could think of this game as just a visual novel, just play it for the story. But you have to progress relatively far in the game to unlock the story, so it's not really a story-based game. It's not like you can sort of slack off on the main gameplay just to get the story done, because you can't have to play the game properly in order to reach the point where you can read all the story. And the truth is that Nekopara, compared to other visual novels, is not a very good story-based game. I'd say if you compare it to another free gacha visual novel game, Heaven Burns Red, Shilling Heaven Burns Red, because it's actually a really good, well-written game because it's done by Key. And if you know Key writes very good visual novels, and HBR is very nicely written. And the fact is that even if you want to play the gacha aspect of the game, and you were to play free to play, you can actually progress through the story completely without too much trouble, I think. I think maybe the later parts, you might need to at least play the game properly in order to progress. But at the very least, you're getting a lot of story for the game. Because the total playtime for at least like one chapter in HBR is a couple of hours. It's quite a long game. But for Nekopara Sekai Connect, your stories for one volume, you can finish it in under 30 minutes. And going through the whole last Solio chapters, there's 6 volumes, each with 5 like little portions. They're like 5 minutes each. So it's like in 3 hours, you'll complete the entire thing. HBR, in 3 hours, you're probably not even halfway through it. You're probably like it's one, I would say you need an hour to finish a day, and one chapter usually has like over 10, so it's usually like 10 to 20 hours per chapter. And here you're getting like 30 minutes per chapter. You can finish the majority of the main stuff in like a few hours. If you read quickly, it's done even faster. But so yeah, the story is also not the main part. If you actually enjoyed good VN story, you wouldn't be playing Nekopara in the first place. Even the base Nekoparas, they were well known because they look really good aesthetically. Nekopara is sort of a guilty pleasure VN. You play it because it looks good, you enjoy it, and there are 18 scenes. And besides that, it's not really anything special in terms of story writing. So yeah, it's a guilty pleasure game, but the visuals are good, and that's what I think they expected when they were making this gacha game. They expected the visuals of the game to be able to carry it through no matter how terrible the game is, but it just doesn't work that way. Especially in a world where gacha games have evolved a lot. So, I mean, everyone kind of knows, like, MiHoYo. You have not just AAA PC games, you have AAA mobile games nowadays. Those games are time sinks, they take up so much time, and people are not gonna spend time on a game which they feel is not worth playing. And when you're going to release a gacha game, you have to understand that it's a super competitive market now, and trying to get people to play a gacha game is hard. And usually, especially looking at some of like the top grossing games right now, a lot of money flows in from the global audience. Looking at the game, a lot of the players in Sekai Connect, they seem to be Japanese, and I understand that because this sort of game usually targets the East Asian market, is what I'll say. Usually the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Koreans. These three groups are the most likely people to play this sort of very pay-to-win games. From my experience seeing like the player bases and having played some of these before. So at the end of the day, making a game, especially with an IP like Nekopara, which has such strong global reach, in a world where gacha games are the gacha game market is highly saturated and people are actually looking for a good game to play, Nekopara Sekai Connect doesn't really fall into a good position at all. Yeah, relying on graphics, you have a game that doesn't really play like a game. It's sort of like an idler that kind of wastes time. It's pretty pay to win, trying to get you to spend a lot. And yeah, there's not really much that the game is making use of. Nekopara is a strong IP, especially among like the anime fan base at least. Nekopara can be considered one of the more mainstream VNs, is at least like top 50 mainstream VNs. And VNs used to be a super small niche community. They still kind of are, but recently they've gotten bigger, but Nekopara really has a relatively strong global audience, I would say. They could have leveraged on, especially the fact that I think they do offer an English option in the game, like on release as well. So clearly they want to try and get global players into the game, but at the same time, they are not making a game that favors anyone playing it really. So yeah, I get how some pay-to-win games really can just earn quite a lot of money, but especially with how niche Nekopara is in the grand scheme of things, it's not looking good for the game, especially with the fact that the game basically doesn't work for like 50% of people or something, and yeah, there are a lot of problems with the game. It's hard to recommend this game to anyone or try and get people to play the game. I'll say the ratings of the game are higher than what I would expect, because if I were to rate the game, I'll probably rate it like a 2.5 to like a 3. So that's the range I would expect it to be about in, but it's right now at around a 3.4 last I checked, which is surprisingly high considering the fact that this game doesn't really have much going for it. I feel like as a long-term game, this game is not worth touching at all, because yeah, I just don't think there's much future for this game. This I would have liked for it to be a better game. I like the Nekopara series, the aesthetics are great. If it was like a decent game, I believe that I would probably have it as a sub game. Especially right now, it's perfectly fine as a sub game. But at the same time, having played these kind of very pay to win feeling games before, this feeling lasts at most like a month or 2 months. And then after that, people will start dropping the game, because usually either due to a lack of content or it just gets boring, or there's just like nothing really worth playing the game for anymore. At the very least, I guess you can say that they worked hard on the visuals. They are trying with the story. I think the story is fine, especially if you like the Nekopara style of visual novel writing, you'll be okay with the stories in the game. But I think really the major thing is that we have to see how the events play out. Because if the events are going to end up playing out like your usual pay-to-win sort of games, it's not going to be very sustainable for the game. And so, I like to say that if you want to play this game, I would say you either start now and you reap the rewards of the release bonus and kind of just deal with the bugs and whatever weird stuff happening in the game and hope they manage to fix everything, which they might do. So really the main thing is what they're going to end up doing tomorrow. How many of the bugs are they going to be able to fix tomorrow, and how the events are going to run for the games, and also how they plan on doing the gacha. Because a lot of the time these games won't actually release new banners for gacha. They will have like a relatively fixed pool of gacha. And a lot of the times, if you want something new, it'll usually be like an outfit, a costume, or whatever. It'll give you buffs, it'll give you like some limited event stuff, and you have to pay real money for it. So what ends up happening is that gacha currency ends up being quite obsolete compared to other things. But I have a feeling that they will use your relatively normal gachaing system, which is they will try and release new units. At least that's what I'm feeling. From what I know, the event tomorrow is not having any new units. But I feel like in the future, for certain events, they might have new units. Or at least that's what it seems like the plan is going to be moving forward, looking at the way the game system works. But really, it all comes down to tomorrow. Everything can change tomorrow depending on how well they fix their game and whether it becomes actually playable. And also how they're going to do their events, because events are the lifeblood of games. And if the event is terrible, people are not going to continue playing the game. So yeah, as of right now, very hard to recommend game, very disappointing game. A game that I feel could have had a lot of potential, but they did not leverage it at all, which is why I'm so disappointed that I had to make a video on it. And yeah, tomorrow we'll see how well they manage the game. At the very least, they seem to be aware of the amount of glaring issues that they are in the game. As the first gacha release of Nekopara, I understand that they probably have a lot of issues, even though they have like a million references from other very popular gacha games that have released that they could have done just a bit of referencing from to do some stuff. Understand that maybe developing a gacha game is not one of their main suits, and maybe they did a majority of things in-house, and so yeah, sure, give them the benefit of the doubt. It's not a fun experience to play a game filled with bugs. It's not a fun experience to play a game where you can get soft locked or can't even log into the game. It's not a fun experience to play a game which you can feel the effects of pay to win in, but it's not as bad as other pay to win games. And at the very least, the characters are cute, so there's something there. But yeah, you have to see how they move forward in developing the game. But I would say currently kinda in a very shitty position. Has potential, maybe, because the gameplay is not gameplaying. So I would say that this at the most will only end up being either a good sub game or just end up being your average pay to win trash. And if it does end up being a pay to win trash game, I am just extremely disappointed in what Nekopara has done with this game. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, my disappointment in the game is immense, and I will continue playing the game now because I'm just very bored and it's yeah, goodbye. I don't want to talk about this anymore.